Okay, today I'm showing you a video of a grinder that I built. It's a 2x72. This is the grinder here. Um, the contact wheels I paid about $7 a piece for. The steel I paid about $30 for at my local steel yard. The motor is something I got for free. It was something I just had lying around the garage. It's actually a drum sander. So you see the wheel here is for a 3-inch drum, which works pretty good because I could just slide a drum on there if I need to. Or I could take the drum off and use it for a whole belt sander. The tracking wheel here, if you see, I got a spring. I just painted the spring. I just finished painting with this 2X Rust-Oleum. It's paint and primer in one, just 2 times the work. The spring, I put it right about here to get the leverage exactly where I need it to. You need about 35 pounds of pressure. But let me set that down. The tracking wheel I made, you see here, I have a gate hinge, and you can see the way it works if I lift it up. It's welded in right there, so you see it pivots up and down. I just welded a piece of hinge on there. The bolt right there, that bolt is to track the wheel up and down. I threaded it on the right hand side, and I put a clearance hole right there on the left hand side, right there. That way the threads didn't cancel each other out. The key thing is use a level and put the level on the wheel. And once it's tightened into place, all the wheels need to perfectly line up. If they don't, it's going to give you issues in the belt trying to track. This contact or this idle wheel here, tracking wheel, it's a caster from whatever, a cart or whatever, a dolly, stuff like that. It already automatically had a crown in it, which worked to my benefit to keep the wheel kind of straight already. This is also a caster wheel. I didn't see any point in buying a $400 contact wheel, except for the fact that the bearings would have been ball bearings. This is just a bronze bushing. And it spins pretty good. You see it rolls a little bit. This one rolls a little bit better. This one actually has ball bearings in it. But as far as the wheel goes, I mean, you probably couldn't get this up to 3,000 RPMs, but for what I'm running at for night grinding, it works perfect. This eye bolt here, it's a 6x1/2 inch eye bolt, and you see I have it, a bolt welded on to the frame. I also have a bolt here, so when I get this tightened down to where I want it to stay, I just tighten this one down, and it keeps the other one from loosening up, so I don't lose any tension in the belt as I'm grinding. All the bolts that I used, or all the nuts that I used, they're all lock nuts with a little nylon piece inside of it, so it doesn't vibrate off. I also have those on the motor mounts here. Those are all 3. The holes that I put for these are a little bit wider than the holes for the screws, so I could twist the motor back or forth this way to keep the wheel to the angle that I needed it. And it took a little bit of adjusting. At first I was getting a little frustrated because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't tracking right. And the main cause was this piece right here. I couldn't get the wheel exactly parallel to this wheel and then this wheel. But the key is to have them all lined up pretty much like that all the way back. Trying to think. This piece here that I mounted, like all the tube steel, it's 1.5 by 1.5 by 3/16, except for this piece here, this piece that receives it. It's 1 by 1 by 1/8 inch, a little bit thinner, but it's definitely does the job. This stuff is pretty much overkill, and the way I've used this, I used the frame the same as the tracking part here, and I used a piece of L metal, which I wound up cutting down to fit on the back here, and then welding it together, 2 pieces of the L metal, and that way I was able to get this as close as possible without interfering with my belt coming up around. As you see, I got plenty of room there just by eyeballing it. Another way I did that is by shimming out my contact wheels a little bit. You can see I have a couple of bolts. I got one welded to the frame there. I got one that I used to tighten to that bolt. I used this bolt here to tighten that one so it doesn't loosen itself. And then this one I used to tighten the wheel as far in as I wanted. I didn't want to tighten these 2 bolts together this way too tight because I didn't want the wheel to get too much traction to where it wouldn't spin very good. But I guess the next part of the video I could show you is the thing running. I'll put the camera down for a second and put the belt on so you guys can see it. If I can set my camera down, I don't know. Right there, that'll be fine. Watch out, buddy. Watch out. You sound like a dying animal.
Is it gonna hit me?
No, but I do want you to get back because I don't want you to get hurt just in case something happens. Okay. I'm trying to get this to work. Can you be quiet, dude? I'm trying to film a video. I don't know why you whine like that. Alright, just spin it a couple times, make sure it looks like it's running straight. Alright, everything looks like it's tight. Just kick on the motor. And everything tracks perfectly. The wheel tracks. And you grab a piece of steel off the bench here. This is some leftover tubing. You can see the difference. That's what the frame looked like before. After I painted it black, so much better. Definitely does an awesome job grinding. Zoom in on it. You can see that's a flat piece right here. Ever eat it with some steel real quick, and that's 3/16. So I mean, when you're grinding knives, this thing does nothing. It does nothing to the belt. These are ceramic blade belts. I also have it adjustable. It's on low there. I can put it on high. And then it kicks up a lot faster. But with the wheels, put it down. Put it down so you guys can hear me. The way I have it designed is this back wheel right here is smaller. It's a 3-inch wheel. By the time you get to the 8-inch wheel up here, it's not really spinning as fast as it would be if it was like a, you know, a bigger wheel in the back. Like they got some sanders that are 4-inch and 5-inch, and those would spin 10 times faster. But you don't really need to go all that fast when you're knife making. I mean, sometimes you have like certain applications where you need it, but for the most part, this works pretty good. So, all right. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. Otherwise, catch you later.